My name is Fergus, and our chosen artefact for our Humanities unit is a map of Australia. Our intended unit is aimed at Grade 2 students. The map of Australia provides a wide range of aspects for students to explore and discuss within the unit. This unit can be introduced to students by providing a number of activities to undertake. These initial activities can be quite general and broad, but get students thinking about their place in the world, as well as mapping. Two ideas for these activities are discussing and locating features of a map, including the border, orientation, legend, titles, and scale, also known as bolts. Getting students to colour in the Australian flag using colours of the flag from which their parents and grandparents originate or migrated from, as well as using their family background to look at a world map to identify where their families come from. Now, focusing on the main artefact for the unit being a map of Australia, a number of activities can be used to delve deeper into the aspects of what a map can mean. Activities can include identifying where they currently are on a map and other places of significance. For example, where their extended family live and where they've been on holidays. Drawing a map of Australia and including key features of the map, for example, states, capital cities, landmarks, as well as a compass and other important features of a map. Using a map to understand locations of Aboriginal tribes and the languages they speak. This could be narrowed down to their locations, such as a map of the tribes in Victoria. Using a map to understand major historical events of Australia, for example, the First Fleet, Port Arthur, Gold Rush, and the Federation of Australia. This activity may be more of an extension or higher level thinking activity, but can bring about important historical knowledge for students.
I'm Michaela, and I'm going to be discussing the rationale and potential engagement of our artefact. As previously mentioned, our artefact is a map of Australia. We decided to choose this particular artefact as it represents who and where we are, and can also be a tool to show students that Australia consists of more than what they see on a daily basis. This artefact was also chosen because it can lead into learning about the world and its people. We also decided to choose this artefact because it is one thing that all Australians share, which is a love of Australia, and this is conveyed through the map. This artefact was chosen because many young Australians do not know or understand the locations of borders and capitals, and we wanted to be able to change this. One way to introduce the map of Australia to primary age students in an engaging way is to use the Mapping Australia resource. This is a free downloadable program for educators that teaches students about the state borders and important landmarks along the coastlines and borders. It contains a blank map and a PowerPoint in which the teacher guides the students through locating places on the map in an easy-to-follow step-by-step process. This resource can be adapted to suit any year level and ability. Another way to make this topic engaging is to make use of Google Maps and Google Earth. In this, students can type any location and see it visually either from a street view or a 360-degree lens. Students can also research how far a location is from their home or school. This can lead into activities of writing as if in another state or from the top of a landmark, or even working out the best way or route of transport from one state to another. Finally, students can use the map to create campaigns or advertisements as to why Australia is the best place to live and visit. Not only does this incorporate many learning areas, but if done in a group setting, it can allow for each student to have a different role in the planning and designing of their campaign. As in, one student will be the artist, one will be the speaker, and maybe another could be a researcher.
I'm Emily Sproat, and I will be talking about the curriculum links that can be made. We are using the Victorian curriculum and suggesting that this artefact would work well with Level 2 students. In relation to humanities in particular, the main focus areas would be history and geography. Students will be able to show their understandings of their personal history by describing and showing where the people in their family were born and raised. They will be able to show their understanding of community histories by having the discussion of significant buildings, events and historical sites in our country. The connection to geography may seem quite obvious with our artefact being a map, but there are many ways that it connects to the curriculum. The students will learn and start having an understanding of Australia and how we are connected to other countries. The students will look at world maps to determine the locations of other places and how we connect to them, through location or in regards to history. Students will take a look at the closer community around them and can learn about what activities and opportunities they might have. Students will learn important data skills such as interpreting information to do with directions and the locations of important places. Students will also be able to describe and explain where places are, starting to use appropriate language such as left, right, north, south, east and west. This particular unit also has many other links to the curriculum. For example, numeracy. Students will be learning location and transformation skills. They are learning how to interpret simple maps and how to give directions. They are also using data skills to investigate and find out where their fellow students have come from, and may even create a graph or chart with this information to further their learning skills. There are also many literacy links. A map is a form of a visual text, so students will learn how particular texts are laid out and the important features to look for. On a map, there are things like a title, key and scale. It is also important for students to start recognising the importance of punctuation and grammar even with mapping. Proper nouns and correct spelling are important skills for students to work on, and these activities can be a great chance to do so. Students are also learning new vocabulary and learning how to make conscious choices of what words to use. For example, when learning how to give directions or describe things on a map, students are also learning that language changes with different texts. A written description of Australia is going to sound and look a lot different to a map. These activities also relate to visual arts. Students are exploring ideas and experiences by creating and colouring in maps of Australia. They are being creative while learning about the historical past events. Students are also learning about the Indigenous people and looking at Indigenous maps as well as possibly artwork. A further activity could be creating an Indigenous flag and learning more about the importance that plays in Australia. Another curriculum link is digital technologies. Not only are students possibly using technology to access these maps and information, but they could also use it to create diagrams and pictures to showcase what they have learnt about each other. Lastly, the students are working on their cross-curriculum priorities. They are working on the personal and social skills of collaboration, using their basic skills to participate and respond to others, while participating in group tasks such as looking at a world map and discussing where everyone is from. The students are also developing their intercultural capabilities. They are learning how to describe previous experiences and also identify what is familiar and what is different in other cultures. They are also learning about the cultural diversity within their family, school, community and wider Australia. As you can see, there are many ways that this unit can tie into the curriculum.
My name is Julia, and I'll be explaining the teaching strategies we have selected for our artefact. We've selected discovery and inquiry-based learning through students researching and questioning family members' cultural backgrounds. Using visuals such as our map, timelines, videos, technology, and song and dance assists students in their learning about Australia and their deeper understanding of their cultural backgrounds. Activities are designed for students to work cooperatively and collaboratively. Students are encouraged to be active learners through researching, brainstorming, discussing and reflecting on their own cultural backgrounds, the geographical components of mapping, and Aboriginal histories and culture. The cone of learning photographed to the left explains how students learn best. It is proven that students learn best when they are active in their learning, and this is why we have selected various activities that stimulate and cater for all types of learners that goes beyond reading and listening. Reference to the high-impact teaching strategies have been explained and discussed throughout our presentation. These include setting goals, structuring lessons, collaborative learning, multiple exposures, questioning, and metacognitive strategies. We have also employed a variety of learning strategies to cater for individual learners through social and verbal learning, where students are encouraged to learn through talking and discussing information and research with their peers, so in small groups and whole class discussions. Oral and visual learners through watching YouTube videos about mapping and the geography of Australia and looking and interpreting maps. And a physical learner through drawing map activities and actively participating in excursions and immersions, which are more hands-on. A possible excursion to assist in student learning outside the classroom is visiting the Melbourne Immigration Museum. There are several exhibitions and programs for students in primary school, one of them including the Smart Objects Even Bigger Stories exhibition, which caters for students in grades 2 to 4. The school program allows students to explore diversity in the community through stories voiced with objects, artefacts, and costumes. Students are then involved in a self-directed discovery walk through the museum to explore the different activities and stories of migrants to Australia. The museum caters for children with autism by providing social scripts to help children prepare for their visit to the museum. There are also activities including looking at letters, suitcases, dress-ups, and interactive activities. The museum also provides a colour-coded, sensory-friendly map of the museum to assist students in finding their way around. An incursion that can be provided for students is by the Kumuri Aboriginal Incursions and an Ultimate Dreamtime Experience program. This caters for students who are oral, visual, physical, and social learners by using sound and music to learn, observation, body movement, and group work respectively. This incursion is a fantastic insight into Aboriginal and Indigenous histories and culture. This incursion explores Aboriginal Dreamtime with a variety of activities including a smoking ceremony and welcome song and dance show, didgeridoo and storytelling, bush survival, Aboriginal face painting, art, and song and dance. It is highly engaging for both students and teachers, and everyone is encouraged to participate and have fun whilst learning about Aboriginal culture and history.